Hi guys, welcome to the Little Miss Tony Cooking Show from Little Bambinos in Merrill, Michigan. And today we are going to make pork tenderloins over garlic mash, and I'm going to make you some glazed carrots today. So we're going to begin. I already took the liberty of cutting up some red skinned potatoes, and so we're going to turn the potato water on. If you notice, the potato water is kind of milky looking. I stuck half water, half milk, put a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper in it. And I have some water right here for the glazed carrots. We're going to turn that on. We're going to stick the carrots in the water right away. All right. And then we're going to give it, to that we're going to give it a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And we're just going to give them a little bit of time to cook. Shoot. All right. Now, them are in the water, them are going. Our potatoes are going. And we've got 4 pork chops here, or these are pork loins because the bone is already gone. This part, pork loin, is from like up here on your ribs, right here on the rib part. Up here is the tenderloin, which is the most tenderest. Right in here is the loin. And all it is take a pork chop with the bone off of it. So I cut them up into little chunks. Move that out of the way. And I just have one more to cut up. All right. We're going to take and put them in our bowl. And then we're going to put this wax paper down. We're going to take our pork chops, spread them out. Take a little bit of pepper. And just a little bit of salt. This is kosher salt. And we're going to flip it over. And we're going to pound the crap out of it for a minute. Just flattens them out. That's all it's doing. Makes them cook a little bit faster. Use this little part right here. That'll tenderize them. All right, that looks pretty good. We don't want to use this knife again. We take our flour here. This is probably 1.5 cups of flour. We're just going to turn it, keep putting our pork in. You're just getting a nice light flour coat on top of them. This actually helps thicken the sauce too at the very end. Okay, now that I have that done, I'm going to go wash my hands vigorously for 20 seconds, like they say. And I'm going to flip my cutting board over, and I will give you a list of the ingredients. We'll get our veggies cut up, get our pot turned on, and we'll be ready to cook. All right, guys, now that I have my hands all washed, we're going to turn our pan on here. I'm going to put it on high, let it get hot for a minute, then add some olive oil, just like we always do to it. And in the meantime, I have 2 onions, which you notice they're really little. They're like a little bit bigger than a shallot. You can use shallots too if you'd like. We'll get these chopped up. While I'm doing that, I'll give you a list of ingredients that we're using today. Of course, we're using salt, kosher salt, and pepper. We're using garlic, rosemary, instant coffee, sour cream, a little bit of wine, and over here we have some chicken broth, and we have some cream, heavy cream. So that is what we're going to use, all of this ingredients right there, and to make the pork tenderloin sauce. All right. We'll just give that. This is one big portobello mushroom. I like to use the big ones. They're really meaty. And easy to cut. All right, and then let's give these a little chop. You don't have to be really picky on how your onions are in this dish. I like to give some a chop, and then I like some little big pieces in there. I love to use wine in making sauces. So actually, the way I have it today, so that's all the vegetables we have to cut up, that's it. Let's get some olive oil in our pan. Probably about 2-3 tablespoons. And then we're gonna stick a little pat of butter in it and let that cook with it. As you notice, our carrots are already boiling. We salt and peppered them. We're gonna grab our lemon right here. We're gonna put a little bit of lemon juice in it. Not a lot. Watch that when you stand back, guys, when you're doing this. Let's turn her down a little bit lower. Squeeze a little bit of lemon in there. And let's get our meat in here. All right. And we're gonna let that cook up. Stir our potatoes. All we want these redskins is fork tender. We didn't peel them or anything, so they seem to be doing pretty good. We cut them up into small enough pieces so they cook faster. I'm gonna turn them off and stir this around a little bit. Turn the heat up a little more again. Add just a little more butter. Get some more olive oil in there. All right, we'll check on our carrots, see how they're doing. We don't want to overcook the carrots. There we go. I sliced them up thin. Well, if I can get one here, I'm going to show you. There, has a little bit of crunch left. Well, I really like putting the lemon in it. So that's done for a minute. We're just gonna let that sit there while we're cooking up our meat. All we're doing is browning this meat. And I'm gonna drain these, and I'm gonna drain the potatoes, and we're gonna put that together. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so I drained the carrots, I drained the potatoes. I'm gonna turn the carrots back on for a minute. And I'm gonna add a pat of butter to them, like 2 tablespoons. And then I'm gonna take the potatoes, and I'm gonna add some butter and just let it sit in there. Bury it underneath the potatoes here as much as you can. Let it sit there for a minute. All right, our meat is cooking. We're just gonna get a nice little brown on it. It takes about 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes for the little tenderloins to cook. All right, so now we're gonna take our carrots here. Got our butter getting ready to melt. And we're gonna add brown sugar. So That's about a tablespoon, and let's see what that'll go. Guys, you just gotta taste your food all the time. I mean, sometimes carrots are sweeter at certain times of the year, sometimes they're not. A little more salt, just a tad little bit of pepper. We're gonna let that come down. I'm gonna grab some parsley. You don't need a lot, we're just doing it for, actually just for looks. Nice clean knife. Just give it a nice little chop. Pull my little stem out there. All right, so that's sit there ready. Kind of roll them around in the pan a little bit. We're gonna pull them out in a minute here. All right, let's see how our brown sugar's melting with our carrots. Gonna turn this down on medium. I don't want to cook the carrots too much more. I just want to coat them with that butter and the brown sugar. Let's see. See what we got. You know what I'm gonna try a little bit of? Put a little more lemon in it. Not a lot, just give it that fresh taste that I like out of carrot. So the butter's cooking down. Starting to get a nice little shine to them. All right, let's work on the potatoes. We've got the butter in. I've got like a half a cup of milk here. I'm gonna stick almost all of it in there. And let's see how much you need. So on this we're making garlic mash, guys. Garlic mash Redskins. So see, I didn't even stick a whole half a cup. I count it as this will do 4 people. We'll stop that for just a second. See, our tenderloins are all cooked up. They're nice and brown on this side. We're gonna pull them out for a second and turn this off for a second. Oops. I'll just bring it over here for you. Just stick these in on the plate. There we go. Let them sit and rest for a second. Turn the burner back on. Turn on medium. Let's get a little more olive oil back in the pan. Don't worry about them drippings that are in the bottom of the pan. Them are going to make the gravy. Let's get some butter. Whoop. Let's try to get some butter. There we go. Let's give it a little bit of salt. Not a lot, because we're going to do my little, I call it a Marcella broth. Instead of a Marcella with a bunch of wine, we're going to use a little combination of everything here. So we're going to throw our shallots in, and our onions, I mean. Use the small ones. These are kind of sweet too, guys, so. Here we go. We just want them to become translucent, which means they turn a nice little clear color. I think our carrots are nice and coated. The butter's evaporating a little bit. I'm going to shut them off. Them are pretty much ready. We're going to take and we're going to add garlic to our mash. Let's add a tablespoon and see what we come up with. Just mash it in. It smells good. I don't know if we got enough garlic. You can try garlic powder too if you don't have fresh minced garlic. Like I said, guys, you just got to keep tasting your food. Not too bad. I think it could probably use a little pepper. But I'm going to take this right here. I'm going to add the rest of our garlic to our onion mixture. See how the onions are turning translucent? We don't want to burn our garlic, so we're going to add our wine in. This is 1 cup of wine. And it go close to the pan, that way you don't start yourself a little wine fire. We're going to let that cook for a minute. We've got to add pepper to our mash. All right, stir them up. Give it a taste. That's good. All right, this is gonna cook down. Well, this cooks down. I have right here chicken broth, and I have instant coffee. So I don't use a lot of it. Like I said, sometimes you can't measure everything. You kind of got to go by taste. So I'm going to put a little bit of that in there and let that kind of melt into the wine sauce. And got this up on high now so that the wine actually cooks down and reduces, so you can't taste the alcohol in it. Got a little bit of carrots there. All right. So we're going to take our plate. We're going to stack ourselves some carrots. Let me grab a set of tongs here. If I was cooking for just me, I could take and use my fingers, but it's not a really good way to show you. In the restaurant business, you don't touch cooked food with your fingers. You use rubber gloves. You wash your hands vigorously for 20 seconds. All right, so we just made a nice little design with the carrots, just kind of like stack them up. If you want to love your food and have people love what you're doing, they eat with their eyes. So that will actually be that. And now our wine is cooking down. We're going to take our spoon here. We're going to add a little bit of chicken broth. Probably a half a cup. And that'll be that one. To our carrots, I'm going to put a little bit of parsley over the top. Make them look pretty. I'm going to put some fresh parsley inside our garlic mash. Finish stirring this up. Okay, I'm going to take a nice dollop here. All right, that's done. This is cooking away yet. I'm going to stick some rosemary in it. A teaspoon. Yeah, maybe a little more than a teaspoon. Just give it a nice little stir. Let the rosemary cook in. Be nice to get fresh rosemary when you can. Get it. That's when it really tastes good. We're going to add a little bit of cream to it. This is heavy cream. I add a little bit at a time. All right. That was probably about a cup. And that's going to cook down. We're going to add our mushrooms in. Stir them around. Now you can do this sauce one or two ways. You can either take and put your pork medallions right into the sauce and pour it over top the mash, or you can do a little bit of design in. I'm gonna check the pork loin and make sure that it's all cooked. Oh yeah, that's nice and cooked. And see how it tastes. Hey, there's a hand coming in. I think that's Mr. Fritzler. He must be a little bit hungry today. Wanna try it? Yeah. All right. I'm gonna give this a little taste and we're gonna see how we're doing with this, how the taste is on this. I think that by the time we get the cooked down a little bit, we're gonna put a little bit of sour cream in it. I think it could probably use just a hair more rosemary. Uh-oh, now he stole some carrots. Somebody over here is pretty hungry, guys. All right, yeah. He's gonna try to take some sauce. That's pretty hot, baby. I wouldn't do that. All right, see this is starting to thicken up a little bit already. Let's give it another little taste shot. Not too bad. Let's put some sour cream in it. You can keep cooking this down, guys. And it'll just get thicker as it cooks. You can keep cooking this down, guys, and it'll get thicker as it cooks. This is probably a good tablespoon and a half of sour cream. There we go. As you must see by the little hands coming, or the big hands coming in the picture, that Mr. Fritzler always helps tape the show. He always wants to taste and test everything. Yeah, I like the music in the background. That's from my father-in-law playing. Dun, 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 dun. So all you really want to make sure is that you're going to cook the wine out. You don't have to use wine if you don't want to. You can use just chicken broth and add your little bit of coffee. If you don't have instant coffee, you know the old coffee that sits on the cupboard from the morning that you never dumped out? Put that in there. That'll taste really good too. So we're gonna take, and now we're gonna put a little bit on our plate. We have our carrots, we have our mash. Strain out for our mushrooms. Make sure you get some garlic and some onion. All right, now we're gonna take our medallions. Pick the pretty ones if that's what you wanna do, if you don't wanna put them in the sauce. All right, guys, here it is. Let's see if we can let the boss man taste a little bit. I'm gonna add these into the sauce and show you what they're gonna look like. Ah, there goes the hand. He's gonna taste them. What do you think, boss man?
Fantastic.
Well, why don't you put your camera down or put it over here and show them how this is thickened up the minute I put the pork tenderloins in it. It thickened right up. And why don't you come on over and say hi to them? And this is, guys, this is pork loins with a sauce over top of garlic mash with glazed carrots. Give it a try. This is Denise Fritzler, Little Miss Tony, from Tony's Little Bambinos in Merrill, Michigan, saying, I hope you enjoy, and and have a great day. Ciao. Steven,
What's up?
what are you doing?
I'm eating. Cut! Hey! Hey!
Hey, you're
No,
supposed to be-
cut!
what are you doing?